The playoffs have been electric, but I wanted to take a few seconds amidst the chaos to shout out Damian Lillard. Dame will be back eventually, but as a small guard in his mid-30s, his time as a star-level player was already winding down. A torn Achilles likely ends that portion of his career. What a run it was. Lillard's averaged roughly 25 points and 7 assists for his career, ranks third in scoring since his 2012 debut, and is one of only 12 players in history to amass 20,000 points and 6,000 assists. At his absolute best, he was a 30-plus per game scorer who shot roughly 50% inside the arc, 40% from deep, and 90% from the free throw line while never missing time. He missed 39 games combined in his first 9 seasons. Along the way, he authored some of the association's most memorable and memeable moments. According to Basketball Reference's game score metric, he also owns the greatest single-game playoff performance of all time. Still missing the championship he so desperately craves, Lillard made it back from a blood clot in record time to join the Bucks' playoff push, which makes his Achilles injury even more heartbreaking. We'll have lots of time to discuss where this leaves Milwaukee and Giannis, but for now, consider this an ode to Lillard. Whenever or however he returns, his Hall of Fame resume ensures that Dame time is forever. And with that, welcome to the Unfiltered Show from the Score Studios. My name is Joseph Casciaro, special guest in studio today. Not often we can say something like this. AJ Lawson, Toronto Raptors shooting guard. AJ, welcome to the show, man.
What's up, man? Appreciate it.
No, appreciate you coming in. Off the top, before we get into your journey a little bit, I mean, you just heard me kind of wax poetic about Dame there. Have you had the chance to match up with Dame yet in your career?
Sadly, no. I was really looking forward to like that matchup because he's a top 75 player. Great at his position, great shooter. It'd be like a crazy matchup for me. It's one of those people you've been watching since a kid too.
Yeah, I feel like too, like for his generation, obviously Steph is the guy who like everyone remembers for as the guy in the 3-point era or whatever you want to call it. But I feel like Dame kind of in the shadow of Steph was like that next guy for that style of play, right? Like could pull up from anywhere, had all these huge shots in the playoffs, huge numbers.
What I remember most is like that step back I think he had against OKC at the time.
The wave when he waved
like that was like legendary. That shot alone is like something you practice on at the court when you're a kid. Like a step back 3, 2, 1 game. Yeah. So like that's like I feel like that's when the Dame time thing we came with the watch came about. Yeah,
that's when it really blew up. And also just like I mentioned it too. I think it was not just that he had those memorable moments, but that whether he knew it or not, it was like perfect for the social media generation and era because it was like memeable moments too.
Yeah,
like he had the wave. He had, I don't know if you remember, everyone jumped on him. Yeah, and then he was like looking at the camera when everyone was piled up on him.
That was fire. Yeah, he was looking up like, I did that.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Was fire. Yeah, that was fire. He does have a lot of little memeable stuff, like you said. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, shame, obviously, now we're going to have to wait a while to see him again. Probably never going to be that star-level player, but like I said, what a run.
I hope he gets back healthy quick, too. I mean, I don't wish injury on anybody. That's sad for real because he's such a great player, and, a lot more to come.
Yeah, hopefully. All right, let's talk about your journey. I really want to have you in to talk about, like the grind that a player like you has to go through, like the mental toughness it takes, the kind of behind the scenes stuff a lot of fans don't see. So, I mean, I'll kind of open up the floor to you. Tell us about your journey, how you went from, college, undrafted, CEBL, 4 G League teams to now playing for your hometown team.
Man, the journey's been amazing, honestly. I think I love the grind. Like every time something happens or like a new accomplishment happens or maybe even a failure, it always makes you better and stronger. Like for myself especially, just going undrafted was like, man, like I got to start from like the bottom and work my way up. So that was like step 1 right there, being an underdog. So from there, I think my first year pro, I didn't get the NBA experience at all. I was on an E10 with Atlanta Hawks, played the whole year in the G League. Then the next summer, played on Dallas Mavericks for Summer League, got a 2-way with Minnesota, was a thumb for like 2 months. Then I got cut before the season started, right before the actual season started. So I was with them for preseason, got cut, went back to the G League, played a couple games, then got picked up by Minnesota again. So like that's just a journey right there. You never know where you're gonna be at, what can happen, but just gotta stay with it. Got my first NBA point with Minnesota, which was a dunk. And then from then I played
on anybody. Do you remember? Was it or just clear?
It was against Orlando, but Bball was kind of in the area, but I didn't dunk on him though. I just remember that moment because I remember he was there. I'm like, I hope he doesn't jump. I want to get my first point. So I dunked it, and then I was with Minnesota for another month after that. Then got cut again, and Dallas picked me up on a 2-way which was amazing. And I was with Dallas for 2 years, and that whole journey right there was amazing itself. Last year we just went to the finals with Dallas, and that was honestly amazing. And then this year I'm with the Toronto Raptors, my home team, which is incredible.
I do want to talk to you later in the show about that journey with the Mavs and kind of going to the finals and what's that like from inside the locker room. But you know, you like talk about all those like the little moves you had to make, or getting cut, signing with a new team, joining a G League team like this. I feel like to the average fan, they kind of, you know, maybe just see it as like a name on their phone coming up in an alert. This player has been assigned to the G League, or this player has been called up. And to the average fan, like I said, that's all it is. It's just a name on a phone. Okay, this guy's there now. But what's it like actually being on the human side of that? Like, you know, like, do you always have a bag packed in that situation when you're in that kind of point in your career?
Man, like, you definitely have to, like you said, have a backpack. You never know what's going to happen, especially when you're in the G League, because you can get called up to any team. You can be on the road, and if you're on a two-way, you can get called up to an NBA team and got to meet them in Sacramento or meet them in Houston, wherever it's going to be at. But just for me, like, it's a grind for real, because you never know what's going to happen, and it plays a lot on your mentals too, because you always got to be prepared, and you never know what the next step's going to be. So for me, my circle helped me out a lot. They always kept me in tune, like, kept me in the moment, because you never can't be too high, can't be too low. That's one thing I learned about this basketball stuff. Always be present in the moment. And for me, just being cut, just not letting it faze me, and like just, you know, just keep grinding, keeping that spirit high, and that just helped me along the way. And just thanking God for every moment, and just being humble about it, and just whatever happens, happens. Just don't overstress it. That's what I learned.
But how do you stay in that moment? Because I think for a lot of pro athletes, like you said, it was maybe an unorthodox route to where you got, right? Like everyone, I think, has maybe the cliche thought where it's like, okay, I'm gonna get drafted, then I'm gonna go to the NBA, and then I'm gonna, like, you know, the trajectory's just gonna go like this. So how do you stay in the moment and just kind of focused on the next thing when it's maybe not going to the exact plan you had for yourself?
For me, just staying in the gym. Like, always try to stay on your routine, get your shots up, work hard. Staying in the gym helped me a lot, because I didn't focus on the outside noise and all that. I just focused on my game, just trying to get better. Because I know if I get better, someone's going to see that and they're going to want me. Because I know I got the talent for sure, and I believed in myself. It's just about the opportunity, which I wasn't getting at first, which I finally got later down the line, which was amazing. But, yeah, just staying in the gym, staying with God, and just talking to my family, my close circle, just keeping me, you know, humble and in the moment, and just making sure, like, I don't get distracted or far off pace because things ain't going the right way.
I was reading that, I think when you were younger, like I think in college, you went to, you were one of 24 players invited to one of Chris Paul's camps. Did you get to spend time with CP back then when you were at that camp? Like, were you able to take anything from him? And has that helped you in any way all these years later? Because he is known as this, like, ultimate like vet winner
like
that can mentor young guys.
Yeah, that camp it was good. I actually forgot about that camp. That camp it was good, because we got to play against like CP and the other guys that was in the league, and that right there like showed me like there's levels. Like, he was like his game right there was just so smooth, calm. Like, he knew what was gonna happen. Like, we were trying, like, you know, us young guys, we're trying to play as hard as we can. He's just calm, not letting anything rattle him, and just the pointers he was giving out during that camp was great too, because you got to learn like what it is to be like a point guard in that moment, and like what he thinks of how he thinks the game and all that. And that camp was good, because I got to feel like I got to go against high level competition and show that, yo, I can really do this. Like, I actually got a chance to stay with it. Yeah.
All right. In terms of the high level competition that you mentioned, like you explained your journey, it's been a lot of back and forth between G League and NBA. I think for the average fan, they can, assume what the differences are between NBA and G League on the court. But how much of the, the grind is actually the off the court stuff in the G League compared to the NBA? Whether it's like maybe the travel, the accommodations, the facilities, like how much of that does play into it too? And how disciplined do you have to stay when maybe all that stuff isn't quite up to par with the NBA level?
Yeah, every team is different. Some teams, they might have you stay in a hotel or in a condo or wherever it's going to be. But in situations I was in, at first in Atlanta, we was in the heart of Atlanta, staying in like these apartments, which was great at the time. Like, it was my first experience being by myself as a pro. And for us G League players, we didn't get the gym time like NBA players. They have their own practice facility. We didn't have that. We only had gym times from a certain amount of time, say like from 10 to 12 or 12 to 2, whatever it was. So it was hard because I couldn't get like extra shots up at certain times. Like, we had the gym in the morning. Say if I wanted to get shots up at night, it was harder. Man, I might have to go to a different gym, or the G League is not as much resources as the NBA, but they're still working on it. The G League's been doing a great job of getting better each year, which I really appreciate. And just for us G League players, we just got to grind, like do extra work at the house or at a local gym and other stuff like that just so we can stay up to date or be as great as we want to be. But the G League is a great pathway to get to the NBA, though, because that's what everybody's looking at right there. All the NBA scouts go to the G League right there and say, oh, who's that kid? You know? And that's the opportunity that every kid in the G League wants, for real.
I feel like it's like a bit of a measuring stick too for like how much someone really loves to hoop, right? And like how much they really want this. Like you mentioned maybe not having the access to like the gym at any time the way the average NBA player was. So like you gotta put effort in just to be able to go then put effort into getting your shots up, right? Like if you don't truly love it, if it's like a lot of guys won't make it through that grind.
Yeah, you gotta love it for sure, because it's always gonna be distractions or people in your ear saying, "Oh, you should be here or you should be there," and it's always gonna be like, "I wish I was this, wish I was that." So in the G League, it's kind of like a humbling moment because you always know, like, if I get this opportunity, I'm gonna make sure I run with it. So it's like it keeps you hungry for sure, because once you finally get that chance, or if you do get that chance, you want to make it last. You're like, "Oh, I'm gonna go as hard as I can. I don't want to like." Waste the opportunity. I want to make sure that they love me in whatever situation that they see me in. So, yeah, so the G League definitely is one of those things where it's like, if I get the opportunity, I'm going to go and run with it.
All right, well, on that note, you get an opportunity with your hometown team.
Yeah.
So I was looking it up when I was doing some notes for the show. So coming into the year, your career high was 17. You had a 3-game stretch with the Raptors in March where you went 32, 28, 18. So you essentially had beaten your previous career high 3 times in like the span of 5 nights or something. It's also the 32 and 28, the 60 points in 2 games was the most by a Raptors reserve in a 2-game span in franchise history. So when you hear that stuff, or like even when you were going through it, I think the 32-pointer was at home too, if I'm not mistaken. I was there, and I remember
2 of them are home games.
Yeah, the crowd was going nuts. It was a cool moment. Like as you're going through it, I know you try to stay grounded, but like there's gotta be a little voice in your head being like, all right, like this is what I wanted, and I've always said I would make the most of it, and that's exactly what I'm doing.
So before that career high, I got my first career start, and that's when it hit me. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm really doing this. Like, I'm starting on the NBA team for my home city. Like, this is amazing. That's when it really hit me. But then that game, it happened. I don't think I had my best game, but then the next game, I had the career high. And when that happened, like I was on cloud 9 right there. Like, I was just so happy. Like, my parents were happy. My family was happy. It was an amazing moment just to be a part of and make history, going back to back, having, I think, 60 points in 2 games. Like, that's history right there. That's amazing. That's like for the city right there. That's for the country. Like a city boy doing that right there.
Yeah, it was a cool moment. Like I said, I was there. The crowd was into it. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Playing for your hometown team, I imagine, is amazing and is like really cool. But I also hear some players say that sometimes playing at home can maybe be distracting or like not all it's cracked up to be. So like, what are the pros and cons of that, and how do you manage that?
I can see why people say that, because you're always gonna have like friends and family that want to see you or get extra tickets or like just be a part of the journey with you. Which if you was somewhere else, like for me, when I was in Dallas, like certain people weren't hitting me as much as they do now because they have access to me now, which is But I feel like my family and my friends, we do a good job of just staying grounded and making sure keeping the main thing, which is basketball. And I've always been, locked into the grind. So I feel like my peoples already know that. So it's not really a big distraction for me. It's more so a lot of love, because I always get to see my peoples. And like if I need help with anything, I got my family, I got my cousins, friends that can always help out. So it's been a great blessing for me. So it's not really a distraction or nothing for me, because I feel like I learned as a pro just to handle things the right way.
What's it like playing on a team? What was it? An admittedly rebuilding team. Like Darko would talk about it. How it was about process over results and development and all that stuff. So, what's it like as a pro? Like we talked about your journey. You grind to get to this point. Now you're playing for your hometown team, and you're trying to earn a job going forward and all this. But the team's like in a rebuilding situation, and let's be honest, you have fans out there being like, oh, maybe like we don't want them to win or whatever the case may be. How hard is that for someone in your position to just kind of like focus on your own job and what you're trying to do?
Like you just said, just focus on your own job. I'm just focused on being me, going in there, being a good teammate, and then when the game comes, just playing my tail off, trying to do what I can do to showcase that I am an NBA player so I can stay. That was just, and just try to help my team win. My mindset was just, just be me and just play with energy and do whatever the coaches need me to do, because that's what's going to make me stay. So that's what I want to do, anything that's going to make me stay. So I wasn't really paying attention to all the stuff that people were saying on Twitter or anything like that. Just whatever was in that locker room and sticking to that.
How hard is it for a locker room? Because it's another thing Darko's talked about. He was really proud of the way the team, start to finish, the young guys at the end, stuck together, even though maybe like the wins weren't coming. But everyone stuck together. Like from my experience, even just covering NBA teams, that's not always the case. Sometimes teams fracture. So what was the key, you think, to the team staying together, the young guys staying positive?
I just got to shout out the coaches and the coaching staff for keeping us all locked into the game plan. Every game we are always working on something so we can be better and be great. So just sticking to our defensive principles or sticking to our offensive principles, keep running everything the same way no matter what the outcome is. And I feel like us young guys, we learned a lot, building chemistry and just overall just learning each other. I feel like that was great for us.
You mentioned, being a great teammate, controlling the little things that you could.
Yeah.
Your first few years in the NBA, is there a guy, maybe a vet, anyone that you remember from the locker rooms you've been in that like you've looked at and be like, that guy's teaching me how to be a good teammate or a good pro? My
first year with Dallas, we had my teammate Theo Pinson. He was a great teammate.
He's got a great podcast now, by the way.
Yeah, great podcast. I watched that too. But he's probably the one I learned from. Like being a good teammate means a lot because he didn't really get as much minutes as he could that first year I was there, but he was valued because of his opinions and the energy he brought and everything. So he was a great teammate. Everybody kind of like went to him for like advice or like some like energy or something because he knew that he had our back. Yeah. So I learned that like if you're a good teammate, you can stick.
Yeah, I think that's a great point too. For young players or whoever, because that's one thing. Being around the league that like as I've gotten older, I've kind of realized like when you're younger and maybe covering the league, media or fan, you look at whether it's a Theo Pinson or Garrett Temple, like some of these vets, Udonis Haslem all those years in Miami, and some people might be like what do they really do? Whatever the case may be. But then you talk to guys in the league, and they're like, no, those guys are like teaching us how to be pros. I think Jamal Shed said it one time this season, where they asked him like how he was able to stay ready and have a big game after sitting for so many games, and he's like, well, I actually watched Garrett Temple do it last week. Like that stuff matters.
Nah, it definitely matters. Like even for me, I joined the team late, but GT was still there to help me out with plays, help me out with like just what to do, what to see. Like even like on the court, like if something happens, like he's talking to guys on the court and they're listening. Like that stuff really matters. So like having like a vet leadership or like a good teammate on your team, it really matters because it helps winning.
Talking about teammates and stuff, another thing I saw that kind of went a little viral when you got your two-way deal converted to a standard deal. Congrats on that, by the way.
Appreciate you.
Who was the first or one of the first players to reach out to you when you got that?
Of course, my teammates and all that. But I remember Luka messaged me and he congratulated me, which is awesome because that's a superstar right there, one of my old teammates, and like honestly, everybody in the city, Toronto, my family. But Luka was one of the first for sure. What
was your relationship like with Luka when you played there?
It was great. I mean, watching him play as a player is like honestly amazing because he has like so much like in his bag that he shows on the court. But when you practice with him and see him in practice, like you get to see like the real raw stuff sometimes too. It's like, wow, he really just did that, which was amazing. Just watching him play, Kyrie too, was great. It was a great learning for the first 2 years for sure.
I have to ask you because we're talking Luka, but if we were shocked when that trade went down, what was your reaction as a guy who was on that team, was in the finals with that guy less than a year ago?
I mean, the whole world was shocked. I was shocked too. I mean, it was one of those ones like you seen the notification happen, you're like, no way. Just ignore it. But then you realize 10 minutes later, it's like, this is the real deal. Like, he really was traded. That was my reaction. I was like shocked. But, I mean, it's the business.
What was it like behind the scenes with him? Because I mean, listen, like we don't see everything behind the scenes, practices. People talk about his like work ethic and all that. Like, what was he like? You mentioned practices, seeing things he could do. Was there ever a question in your mind about like work ethic with that guy or like anything along those lines?
No, I mean, Luka's an amazing player. I mean, the stuff he does, it just comes so naturally to him, and I was just trying to learn off of things that he does and try to like put it in my own game, like. Whatever it is, like playing with pace or using a shot fake, like he plays at his own speed all the time, and that's what I'm trying to learn. Like when I was in Dallas, I was trying to learn how to do that because I just like to play fast, whoop, 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 and just try to go up and try to get a dunk and stuff. But he plays at his own pace. He's gonna get to his spots and he's gonna do what he wants to do, and he's gonna read you and make a move, whatever you do to him.
That journey you went on with him and Kyrie and the Mavs last year to the finals, can you kind of take us inside the locker room of like what's that emotional journey like? You know, like what is it, 8-9 weeks if you go from the beginning of the playoffs to the end, the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows. Like what is that whole journey like?
Yeah, we didn't finish our season until June last year, which was amazing. Each round, I feel like, I scored in each round, which was honestly amazing to me, an accomplishment for me. But just to get to the finals, like seeing the finals logo walking through the tunnel on the court from our shoot-arounds, having hundreds of camera people there, interviewers and stuff, like it was like a dream, like something like you really can't even explain. Like I pictured this as a kid, and it was 10 times better when what I pictured as a kid for sure.
What's it like? Even like, okay, for example, how different is it from the regular season? Like when people talk about the difference between playoff basketball and regular season ball, and like we don't maybe really understand it. Can you kind of put into words what's different, even off the court, off days, how you approach practices or shoot-arounds, any of that stuff?
I'm gonna just say it's intense. That's the word for it, intense. No matter what you do, you gotta put intensity in. Like even film sessions were intense. We're studying everything from players' tendencies to team tendencies to what the coaches might do for subs and stuff. But it's very intense. You gotta lock into small details. Every detail matters in the playoffs for sure, because you gotta learn on the fly to make adjustments. And shout out our coaches because they did a good job when we went to the finals for sure.
How quickly does the maybe like animosity, because you like regular season games are one thing, and then you notice in the playoffs, like even seeing it this year, like the way Milwaukee and Indiana talk about each other, Jimmy talking about Dylan Brooks last night, it does seem like the playoffs come and it's different. You talk about that intensity, even the way opponents are with each other. So how quickly into a playoff series do you notice like even maybe the way you feel about an opponent, like how quickly does that change when the postseason comes?
It changes like instantly, because like everybody has the goal to get the championship, of course. So like you see the other team, you automatically think, oh nah, they're not taking that from you. I want this. So it makes you bring like that intensity, that swagger, that hunger, like, oh, nah, I want this. I'm going to show everybody that we the better team. So, playoffs is, it's amazing. Like, just the atmosphere itself, even the fans are into it. Like, I'm going to the same arenas I played in before, but playoff time, it's like, whoa. Like, we're shooting around, everybody's there already, intense, screaming, like, oh, we going to beat y'all, and stuff like that, talking trash. You know how it is, but it's great. I mean, that's something like you got to experience like for yourself for sure. So every like basketball player, that's something that they want to see.
I know it was before you were pro, but like you were a fan at the time or a college player. Did you get to go to any of the games in Toronto during the 2019 run or during any of those playoff runs during that kind of We the North?
No, I couldn't, but I definitely watched on TV. Of course, I was rooting for them, but that was amazing to see, because the home city having the chance to like get a championship, which they did. Like the whole process, we was locked in. Like, oh yeah, they can do it, and we're just vouching for them because we from the city. We want to see the city do good.
Okay, keeping it playoffs. We'll put your analyst hat on here for a bit and talk a little bit about the playoffs. First thing I wanted to ask you, I don't know if you saw any of last night's Miami-Cleveland game or if you've seen any of the playoffs, but at any point in your basketball career, I'm talking go back all the way to like youth leagues when you're a kid, have you ever lost a basketball game by 55 points?
Actually, I think this year we had a bad loss, actually. It was probably my worst loss against Boston. I don't know how much we lost by, but I hope I haven't.
I don't think it was 55.
I
don't think it was 55.
I hope I haven't had no game. Nah, that's...
Yeah, 55 in a playoff game at home is nuts.
Yeah, that's different.
Okay, I think the two series that everyone's kind of really locked in on is Lakers-Mavs, Lakers-Wolves, Warriors-Rockets. Lakers-Wolves obviously has, Luka, your old teammate, but the Wolves are up 3-1. They were the lower seed. I think they were underrated, probably one of the most underrated teams going into the playoffs. Ant has really taken over that series.
That's nice.
Yeah. What from from a peer, from someone who's in the league, who sees this guy, like, what is your perspective of it? What is, what do you think the average NBA player's perspective of Ant is? Because from our vantage point, it's like a young guy that's just like ready to snatch the throne, is like not afraid of anyone, is made for the moment. You guys see it the same way?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Ant got that energy that just takes over when he walks in the room. Like, his game is electric. His personality is electric. He definitely got that superstar type of personality for sure. But when we see Ant, it's like, oh, yeah, we know a highlight's going to come soon. And he's going to express his emotions. Either he's talking smack or, just being himself. And, like, that's what I feel like that's what everyone loves. Yeah.
So even like a player, like you guys can sense that kind of stuff too. Like you mentioned, like a guy walks in the room, like he's got like a superstar air about him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everybody, you know, when someone walks the room, they just got that swag, and he's one of those guys that got that for sure.
Okay, Warriors-Rockets is an interesting matchup because it's like this really young team. It's maybe a little ahead of schedule against this like team of vets, like championship legends, or even a Jimmy who's been to the finals a couple times. How much, in your experience, does experience matter in those situations? Like, you know, can you really chalk it up to that? Like, this team just kind of knows how to win? Or do you think it's usually more than that? Like, it's for basketball reasons, like what we're seeing?
I mean, I feel like a lot of factors come into play for sure, but experience does help out a lot, especially in the playoffs, because guys that have been through it, they know how to, you know, break runs and go through adversity and all that. But there's a lot of factors. There's also talent, injuries, coaching. But experience does help a lot because it gives, like, the team, like, hope and an extra voice of just, like, yo, we're good. Like, don't worry about it. Settle down.
Yeah.
Even if they're down or up. Like,
We've been here before.
Exactly.
Draymond did a crazy job on Sengun last night, and the only time he really popped off is when Draymond was on the bench because of foul trouble. How much does, like, when we talk about basketball IQ and you see a guy like Draymond, is that something, again, that even like among the players, it's something you guys all recognize? Like, oh man, like that guy's like a basketball genius, or that guy just like figures it out in different ways?
As a player, you just watch and be like, he's the perfect complement for the team. He helps the team be better. Like, he helps get Steph open shots. He helps get guys on the back cut because he can pass. He's strong. He rebounds. He defends. I mean, Draymond is a great addition for the Warriors. Just watching as a player and a fan, like, just watching the game, like, I can see how they get open so well because he's a good screener and he just does the little things right.
And he's not. I think he's listed at what 6'6" or 6'7". Like,
probably like 6'7".
Yeah,
6'8",
like,
maybe.
is he much bigger than you? Like, honestly, like, it's about the same. And he's like, what, guarding centers a lot
That's
of
what I'm
nights?
saying. Yeah, that's why I got to do my push-ups and get stronger because he's probably about the same height as me, maybe a little bit taller, but, like, yeah, he's definitely strong because he can guard 1 through 5 for real. So that just, like, shows me, like, hey, if you get in the weight room, you can do the same thing too, or why not?
Next time I see Darko, I'm going to tell him, next year when you guys play the Rockets, put AJ on Sengun.
Oh, shit. I'm going to start doing my push-ups from now then. Hold on. Get in the weight room heavy. Let's go.
All right. Last thing I wanted to get to with you about the playoffs is, so we know OKC obviously kind of ran away from the pack this year. 68 wins, best point differential of all time. You were on a Mavs team that took them down last year when they were a 1 seed. Is there, like, secret sauce or formula to beat that team you think that Dallas team had? Or is there a team in the West or in the league right now that you think can beat OKC for a specific reason?
First of all, shout out Shea, man, Canadian, doing his thing.
Yeah, MVP.
Right. He's been great for that team. The teams, they've been hooping, man. I don't know what people got to do to stop them, but it's gonna be. I feel like the West right now is like it's all great games. It's all great games, all good competition. Anyone from the West can come out the West because they're all so good. But for OKC to stop those guys, you just got to bring that energy. They playing with a lot of confidence, playing fast. Yeah, I'm really locked in to watch what's gonna happen because I really want to see. I really don't know who's gonna win it this year, so that's why I'm like really intrigued. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, it's the beauty of it, and in general, the NBA, we're in this crazy run of parity, like 6 different champions the last 6 years.
Yeah.
Only other time that happened was the mid '70s, I think, and we've never had 7 years with 7 different champions. So if like OKC, Cleveland wins it, it would be. We'd be in that. Okay.
Cleveland's a sleeper too. That's
man. Like people forget they won 64 games.
And
you know,
they number one. They're number one.
Yeah,
seed,
number
right?
one in the East. Swept Miami.
I'm saying they're a sleeper, but they're the number one. Like,
but I hear you, like, because I feel like that's one of those teams where they won 64 games or the 1 seed, but like no one's really saying, oh, the Cavs can win the championship. And to your point, it's like, why not, man?
Why
like,
not? They're number one.
Yeah. Okay, before I let you go, what's next for you? Like this what's the summer look like for a player like you who has grinded your way to this point, just got your 2-way converted to a standard? What's next? How do you kind of keep the progression going?
Like you said, just stay on the grind. This summer's all about grinding, staying in the weight room, staying in the gym, getting my shots up, and then just building that chemistry with my teammates and stuff so next year can be smooth and just focus on winning, make sure I do the winning plays. But this year for me, just make sure I'm staying in the gym. That's my main focus, gym.
What's an average day like for an NBA player in the offseason? Because we always hear there's no such thing as the offseason anymore.
I don't know. I can't even say for everyone because everyone's different. For me, for one person, like a vet, it could be, gym maybe once a day. For other guys, it could be 2-3 times a day. But for me, just Make sure I get the weight room in, make sure I do my stretching, and make sure I get my shots up and working on my game. So I don't want to give up my secrets, but I'm definitely going to be in the gym this year a lot.
All right, AJ, man, we really appreciate you taking the time to come in. We've really, I know I have really enjoyed watching, the progress you've already made to get to this point. I was really happy to see you get the standard deal, and wish you all the luck in the world going forward. Hope to see you in a Raptors uniform for a long time, but if not, in the NBA for a long time, because I think you really do have that potential. And yeah, man, we'll be watching. We appreciate you.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right. For AJ Lawson, for Zach and Adrian in the control room, my name is Joseph Casciaro. This has been The Unfiltered Show. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.